And this defense could take the Texans a long way. I don't know that we've gone into a season where you feel this good about one side of the ball. The JJ years is the only year that I can remember where you felt this good about one side of the ball. For a few year stretch, you had the best player in football, and your defense was going to keep you in games no matter what. No matter who the quarterback was, your defense was going to keep you in games. You had that feeling with JJ. I think this defense has that same type of feeling, and I think this defense might actually be a little bit more complete than some of the best defenses that we've seen with the Texans. Yeah, you would have multiple guys that could get after the quarterback with JJ. I know Merciless was a dog for a little bit early on. Clowney, you really never knew if those two were going to be able to gel together. And you had a decent secondary. You had a good secondary, solid linebacking core. But with this defense, you have two elite edge guys in Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter. Will Anderson's only going to get better. And I'm going to connect this to CJ in a second. I have a question for y'all. So we'll get to that in a second. But we've kind of dismissed the offense because there's a lot of unknown. But you have the elite edge guys. You have the elite corner duo. How elite, who knows? But both of those guys look like their best balls ahead of them. You have playmaking safeties. And you have linebackers that are intriguing. And oh, by the way, you have a coach who, if there are weaknesses or there's not as much star power, linebacker, interior defensive line, he's shown that he can get the job done with them. So you feel damn good about this defense. I don't know, like this is one of those things, and this is what I think Canna and Cal are talking about. What this defense can become from last year to now with a full offseason and a little bit of growth, it's terrifying. This is a top 10 defense. This could be a top 10 defense and still be somewhat disappointing based on the expectations they've laid out. That's how good this defense can be. We don't try to factor in health, but this defense could be the 10th ranked defense in the NFL, and you could be kind of disappointed because of the expectations they've laid out. And that's the same scale that I judge CJ on. It's about the expectations that CJ Stroud has laid out. I always tell the story about one of my OGs where he says where a player in the locker room was getting mad at him, NFL locker room. And he told the player, hey, do you want me to treat you like the late draft pick you once were, or do you want me to treat you like someone who's trying to be an Pro Bowl caliber guy? You want me to change it? I can change it. But you've set that up. You've set that up to where, yeah, I'm going to be a little bit more critical. That's what the defense is right now. This defense is incredible. Talent-wise, coaching-wise, development-wise, D'Amico has that on lock. And I'm bringing this up for a reason. Because when we talk about CJ Stroud's surroundings, we focus on the defense, or we focus on the offensive line, and we focus on the receivers, rightfully so, when he's on the field. When he's on the field, his surroundings, they've got to be nice. The offensive line has to block for him. They have to figure stuff out. The play caller has to know how to adjust.
Damn it, Bobby.
You got to have weapons, guys being able to make plays in the pass game, guys being able to block. You got to have that. So when we talk about surroundings, we talk about that. When we talk about success for a football team, we talk about that. But we've talked about other versions of this earlier in the year. Can you make a case that having an elite defense is more valuable for a quarterback than just an okay offensive line or an elite receiving core? Can you make that case? Because you always hear, and obviously they can't block the way they did last year. They're going to be screwed. But you always hear, well, they don't have a chance in hell if that offensive line isn't great. They don't have a chance in hell if the receivers are. And from an offensive standpoint, yes, you want to make your offense as good as possible. But which is more valuable to reaching the ultimate goal that we just spoke about, that Hannah McNair brought up? Because I'm bringing this all together. That ultimate goal that she brings up, those two words that I don't think they had any business mentioning at the end of last year, she does, that we've only felt less than a handful of times is even a possibility in the history of this franchise. And a lot of people would say even those were delusional feelings. What gets you closer to doing that? And what's more quarterback friendly when it comes to reaching that goal? Is it the elite defense or is it an elite offensive line? Some teams have both. A lot of the teams that we mentioned, a lot of them have both. Like the Philadelphia Eagles have both. So it's not an either or type of situation. But has an elite offensive line ever been like the focal point of winning a Super Bowl? We go to the 90s Cowboys if we want. That was also a top 3 defense. Hell of an offense. But you've seen elite defenses carry teams pretty deep. So does it lower the margin of error? Does it give the offense more wiggle room? I don't know. But which is more important? Because I do think the defense is just, there's a natural thing. And I think to a certain point you do it, especially if you're just focused on the offense. But when we're just talking about a complete team and we're talking about a quarterback surroundings and putting him in position to succeed, can't you make a case that an elite defense is more valuable over time than just an elite offensive line? In other words, are the surroundings as bad as maybe we think? I mean, would I trade skill position guys with other teams? Like if you could trade the Texans skill position guys for other, probably, maybe, yeah. Offensive lines, yeah, most of them. There's not too many defenses that I would take over this one. And that might mean more than anything. Does defense win championships? I don't think so. But CJ Stroud also isn't Trent Dilfer. He's not a game manager. And we saw it last year. Like we saw the Cincinnati Bengals and what their offense was doing. And what was their problem? Why? I mean, they just paid T. Higgins. They paid Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow, one of the better quarterbacks in the league. What held them back? Defense.